First question, once one has chosen to follow Buddha, what is the path for a layperson to affiliate the temple? Well, once you have chosen to follow the Buddha, then you should take the 3 refuges. Have you taken the 3 refuges? You take refuge under the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. You take the 3 refuges. There's a ceremony that you have to do, take the 3 refuges. And I think we have one that would be performed on Monday. Is it a Monday? Tomorrow, Sunday. There will be one for Sunday. What time tomorrow? 2 o'clock, there will be tomorrow. There will be some people who are taking the 3 refuges and some people who take the 5 precepts. So the second one is the path for a layperson. The second, once you determine to follow the Buddha, then you should take the 3 refuges. To take refuge under the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. If you want to be assertive in following more, then you should take the 5 precepts. Abstain from killing, abstain from stealing, abstain from sexual misconduct, abstain from intoxicants, and abstain from lying, fabrication. So that will be the 5 precepts. That is the second to follow. Because to follow the Buddhist teaching, it is absolutely important that you have to have a good foundation, and that is on what you should not do, what you should do and what you should not do. Because every day you are creating karma for yourself. You may not know about it. You're creating karma for yourself. Bad karma is created from doing deeds that you should not have done. And then you follow the second step by practicing meditation, and then also by increasing your wisdom from studies, from researches, from listening to lectures, from meditations. So that's the path for it. So you ask me, what is the path for a layperson to affiliate with the temple? Why look at just the surface? You want to be affiliated to an organization. It's just a superficial gesture, just to affiliate to some organization. It's more important to follow what is the best for you, what is the most important studies for you. We don't set up any affiliation. That would be a member or a founding member, voting member, non-voting member, member with membership dues and fees, members with no membership dues and fees, members that can enjoy a 90% discount in the cafeteria, and members that would enjoy 10% in buying souvenirs. We don't do that. We don't have a membership like that. That is a membership in a profitable organization where they have certain ways to attract and retain members. Their privilege and responsibilities of the members. We don't need that. We don't need that. We don't have that. So you don't need an affiliation. You're free. Some people we call shoppers of Buddhist organization. They shop around. They go to one temple and see what is in there, and then they learn something in there, and then they go and shop for another temple and a third and the fourth. And some people, is it okay to shop around? Why not? It's as long as you don't get lost. As long as you don't get into the shop, that's even worse than the first one. Or you get into the shop that you think that you can get very cheap products by paying out so little and gaining so much. Or you get into a shop that teach you a mantra and you'll be rich. Or teach you a mantra that you can enhance your wisdom in 5 days. We used to have all that, a 5 days course to enhance your wisdom. A 6 days course to increase your concentration. A 7 days course to see Buddha in your dream. There's so many packages. So many shortcuts. And we are not a Shoppers Buddhist Mart. If you shop around, you feel free, but don't get lost in there. Because there's so many out there. So many videos, so many books, so many people who give you shortcuts. You really have to use or exercise your wisdom to find the right one that is the most appropriate for you. In any organization, an organization is manned by people. When there are people, there are hindrances. When there are people, there are mental afflictions. When there are people, there are differences in interactions and in personalities and responsibilities, in habits. So when you interact with people, don't stereotype. So in other words, when you shop into a temple, the first day, oh, it's nice food, you know. So it's the food that attracts you. And then after maybe a month, oh, it's the same. Once you eat there for a month, it's almost like the same as before. And then you shop to the next temple. And in that temple B, you said, temple B, the food is not as good, but you still want to try it out. So in temple B, then you tell all these other people that, oh, temple A's food is better than yours. You should learn from them. So you're spreading rumors and you're tattletelling, you are giving a lot of information that you shouldn't have given out, or you're trying to create conflicts and frustrations among organizations. There are people like that. So make sure that you are not a mental afflictions transmitter, or you're in the process of shopping around, you transmit mental afflictions because of your own ego. And then you go into a third temple, temple C, and there the reverend it's very straightforward. He's not going to be very extremely kind to you. He's very outright in his words, and you don't like it. You just don't like that reverend, and then you go to the fourth temple. So then you shop around. Every temple is a little different. And then you go to the fifth temple, that is esoteric Buddhism. And maybe he said that, well, if you practice my way, then it will be effective and you will get effects in 5 days. And you really believe it. And in some temple, they may even say, this course is about $120. And you really have to pay in order to get the merits. So you pay. And then you get so attracted to it that you continue to pay. And there's so many organizations out there which may appear like it's genuine Buddhism, may not be. So you pick your right choice. Please define sexual misconduct in accordance with Buddhist teaching. If you're a layman, sexual misconduct is defined as relationship that is not between husband and wife. In other words, if you're not legally wedded to each other, and then you have a relationship, that is sexual misconduct. But nowadays, in the common law, there's also the definition that if a man and a woman live together long enough, they become legally wedded. I don't know how you call them. well, they live together, then they're husband and wife. They even claim the other's estates when one passes away. So, why don't we say it like that? If any relationship that is not husband and wife is a sexual misconduct. A one-night stand is for sure sexual misconduct. Prostitution is for sure sexual misconduct. It does not matter the frequency. One is enough. One, then you have broken the precept. Now, if you have not taken the precept of abstaining from sexual misconduct, you say, I'm free, I haven't taken that precept, so I can do that because I haven't taken that precept. In conformity by nature. That means sexual misconduct is by nature wrong. So it does not matter what you have, whether you have performed the ceremony of observing or not, of observing the abstinence from sexual misconduct, whether or not you have taken your vow or not. If you committed sexual misconduct, that conduct is by nature devilish, is by nature wrong. Then you will suffer from consequences from it somehow in the future. Maybe not in this life, then your next life. Maybe in this life, we don't know. Surprisingly, that was proven by some literature I read before. I like to read other books other than Buddhist books. And for people who like to mix relationship with different genders, there's a book by Walter Russell. Walter Russell was a genius in the 1940s or 30s. He only had a primary education, but he's a self-learned architect, a world figure skating champion, and he's a genius in many things, in being a writer, a philosopher, and he wrote in one of his writings that when a man and a woman comes together in any relationship, if the intelligence level of one is higher than the other, so in other words, if one have an intelligence level of that and the other has an intelligence level of this, if they are together and perform that relationship, it's like a water level equilibrium. It tries to reach the same level. That means the one with a higher intelligence would come down, and then with the low intelligence would go up. And he had proofs, and he had written a lot of literature about the subject. So the consequence is right there. The effect is right there. Anyone who perform numerous sexual misconduct will have a decrease in the wisdom level gradually. So a lot of consequences come up from sexual misconduct. So only for husband and wife, if you're a lay person. For monks and nuns, they're celibate. I mean, they cut off from that kind of relationship. How saintly is a monk? Why is a monk being reverenced by others? Why, especially in Southeast Asia, why do the lay persons kneel down and prostrate even to the monks and nuns? It's because of the sainthood. They abstain from this kind of conduct. They're celibate. The celibacy deserves the respect. So if you are not a true monk and you're receiving a reverent prostration from a lay person, you are in effect decreasing your good karma, because you're not that monk. You're not the celibate monk. So in other words, if you're not a monk, you pretend to be a monk, and if you're receiving all these benefits as a monk do, actually you are really hurting yourself all the time. In Southeast Asia, they do that. In North America, it's not yet a custom. But in Southeast Asia, they prostrate to monks. So for the Sangha orders, they don't have that kind of conduct. Actually, you don't need that kind of conduct. It's a self-induced urge. You don't require it. Because the karma has brought you here that you think you required it. It's not required. But because we can classify the universe into three strata. Strata, yes. The first level is the world of desire. The first level is world without desire. The third level is world without forms. Remember? We are living in the world of desires. In the world of desires, you had that desire before. You performed that kind of behavior before. You reincarnate back again into this world. You already have that kind of seeds in you that you mixed with that kind of conduct. You can't get away with it unless you practice sainthood under the Buddhist teaching that you rejected that kind of desire. But if you are not a good practitioner working at stopping that kind of desire, if you're always building up all that kind of desire, like a layman every day, what do they do every day? Every day they get exposed to the TV, to all kinds of information. Then when they see all this kind of information that will induce the performance of sexual misconduct, that would increase the sexual urge, if they see a lot of those things, automatically they have an urge for it. In other words, you're building up all these causes for the urge. Finally, you will perform it. So, many years ago, I heard a few lectures from universities. Some professors of humanities, that the modern world is going to be destroyed by advance in mass communication, especially TVs and computers. You think computers help us, but at the same time we'll be destroyed by them. They increase the speed and the storage of information, but they also give you information that you shouldn't have access to, particularly teenagers. I still remember when I was a teenager, and when I was curious as a teenager, I had to go to theater house and cinemas to see movies, public movies, and they say restricted, age under, parental guidance, all that kind of thing. You don't need those things anymore now, because they don't need to go to cinemas. So it may be true that in the future the world, like using a knife or a fire can be the master or bad servant. Mass communication, advance in technology and computers and all that, in telecommunications, help us. But it also, telecommunications pull people closer and closer because of storage and the speed. But again, it also pulls people further and further apart. Why did I say that? Family members, they don't get closer and closer for dinners anymore. They go about all over the countries working, and they just communicate by computers. They pull people further apart instead of pulling them together. They distance them. Don't you feel that? And advance in medicines and laboratories, experiments, increase the longevity of some people. But then there's an increase in sickness that we don't even identify. People died of younger age too, in some cases. So I don't know. The world is getting very strange. It's not a place to stay. We want to get out from here. This world is a world of suffering. It's not a place that we should stay in. We don't want to suffer anymore. And how do we get out? The Buddha told us methods to get out. Why did the Buddha get born into this world? Because of one reason. He wanted us to know about life and death. He wanted us to get out from life and death. Don't get mixed up with this world anymore. It's a world of suffering. How? This is just lesson 1. You still have to come lesson 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. So some people who have been here for a few years, they know already.